Less than a year after flipping a Republican seat, freshman Democratic Congresswoman Katie Hill is resigning amid ethics questions and revelations of an affair with a campaign staffer. Chief correspondent Jonathan Hunt is live in Los Angeles with this. Jonathan?
Hey, Dana. Congresswoman Katie Hill was a rising star in the party and had been handpicked by Speaker Nancy Pelosi for a leadership position. But after compromising photographs of her and text messages to a campaign staffer surfaced, first on a conservative website, she acknowledged what she called errors in judgment and stepped down. She is going through a bitter divorce from her husband following allegations she had an affair with an aide in her congressional office that is prohibited under House rules. She has denied the affair and today, in a video message just released on YouTube, blamed a political conspiracy for her downfall.
This coordinated campaign carried out by the right-wing media and Republican opponents, enabling and perpetuating my husband's abuse by providing him a platform, is disgusting and unforgivable, and they will be held accountable.
Nancy Pelosi issued a statement praising the 32-year-old Congresswoman's, quote, powerful commitment to her community and bright vision for the future, but adding, quote, she has acknowledged errors in judgment that made her continued service as a member untenable. We must ensure a climate of integrity and dignity in the Congress and in all workplaces. Hill, by the way, won her district by 9 points last year, ousting Stephen Knight, the last Republican to hold a House seat in Los Angeles County. In the wake of Hill's resignation, Republican officials say they are, quote, looking forward to winning back that seat. We shall see, Dana.
All right, all eyes turning to 2020, of course. Thank you, Jonathan Hunt. Let's bring in our panel. Lauren Claffey, she's former Deputy Assistant Secretary for Public Affairs at the Department of Homeland Security, and Drew Littman, former Chief of Staff to Senator Al Franken. I want to read you quickly from Miranda Devine. She is a New York Post columnist who wrote this morning that by claiming that Hill was the victim of a political smear, she and her supporters showed no concern for the vulnerable 22-year-old who was preyed upon by her boss and who now, 2 years later, is bereft, abandoned, and a self-described mess. The same people who demonize males for far less gave Hill a free pass for her egregious abuse of power. Drew, let me go to you first and get your take on this. Nancy Pelosi seemed to think that Hill's resigning was the right thing to do.
Yeah. First, let me say I read Miranda Devine's column. Her gripe seems to be that it took, as she put it, more than a week for Katie Hill to resign. That's just a joke. That's extremely fast by congressional standards. I think, if anything, I mean, I'm a big fan of Speaker Pelosi's. I think that the Democrats went overboard in pushing Hill out, if that's how it worked out. I think she did violate an ethics rule newly enacted. She could have been sanctioned, but I'm not sure that expulsion or forced resignation was an appropriate sanction for what she is alleged to have done.
Let me ask you, Lauren, about this. Robbie Suave, who writes for Reason magazine, tweeted this morning, it caught my eye. He said, the more I read about Katie Hill, the more it seems like she should not resign, at least not without an investigation. Her ex sounds like the bad guy here, and this story has only become significant because of a horrific invasion of her privacy. And there are questions, of course, of revenge porn, but what do you think about the possible double standard here if this had been a man, Republican or Democrat, in the same position?
Yeah, I think that there's two wrongs that happened here. One, Katie Hill acted inappropriately, and this would have been, she should have been forced to resign regardless of political affiliation, regardless of if she was male or female, what have you. She had an inappropriate affair with a campaign staffer. This is separate from what the House is investigating, which is a separate accusation that she had an inappropriate relationship with her legislative director who would have been in her congressional office, and that's where the House has jurisdiction to look into that. She admitted that she had an inappropriate relationship with the campaign staffer.
Right.
Full stop, that was inappropriate. She needs to be held accountable for that. On the other hand, there is this simultaneous attack against her regarding the revenge porn, regarding the nude photos that have come out in some conservative news sites. That is also egregious, and those people who are doing this to her should also be held accountable because revenge porn is a crime. And I think that to confuse these two is to look and see that there is nobody wrong here or that she's a victim. There are multiple victims in this story, and it's awful, and everyone needs to be held accountable for it.
It's a difficult one, but I do think that when the speaker speaks in those kind of terms, where she thinks it was the right thing to do, that we have to look to what the Democratic leadership is saying. Let me just give you, Drew, can I just give you one quick last word on this before we go?
Well, I think Lauren's viewpoint is perfectly reasonable. Katie Hill did do something wrong. I think if you're going to sanction members, though, for relationships they had before they were even elected to Congress, that were consensual relationships, you're going to subject a lot of members to that treatment.
Yeah.
And if revenge porn is what gets them expelled, there's a lot of that stuff floating around out there.
A lot to talk about and think about. Lauren Claffey and Drew Littman, thanks for helping us think it through. Thank you.
Thank you, Dan.
The holidays, they're coming, and guess what? Hackers are ready. The brand new threat targeting online shoppers, of which, of course, a lot of us are. Plus, who everyone is calling the real hero of last night's World Series game. This one's for you.